English with Rob.
Hello everybody, I'm going to be honest, this is the third time I've started to record this podcast, but this is the one we are sticking with. Welcome to the English with Rob podcast. Welcome back. If you're a regular listener, welcome, hello, nice to meet you if you're a new listener. And welcome, hello to John of John's English page, who is my guest today. Hi John.
Hi.
So I'll tell you a few things about John. He is British, like me.
That's right.
And he is living in Italy. And he just told me that it's the middle of nowhere, and it's a small town. Is that right?
Yeah, it's right down. If you can imagine, you know, it's like a boot shape, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, I'm like living on the toe, not just the toe, but on the toenail, underneath the toenail. That's basically where I'm living.
Okay. Interesting way to describe where you live.
Yeah.
And I tell you what I do know about John. I know that he has a fantastic Instagram account, and his content is really useful and really funny, and there is a lot of it. Every day there are so many stories and posts. I don't know how you manage to produce that much useful and funny content and keep it consistent. Well done.
That's very kind of you. Yeah, thank you.
What's the secret?
Well, I don't have a life. Yeah, I just stay at home and make Instagram content. That's basically
That's
I mean,
the dream.
Yeah, exactly. No, I just really enjoy it. I mean, it's just something which I've discovered fairly recently, actually. I mean, in the last year. I mean, I did have an Instagram account before, but I didn't really know why.
Well,
You know, some sort of towards the end of last year, I started sort of posting a bit more, and I think, you know, with the lockdown and things like that, you know, it just a bit of time on my hands.
Nice. Well, you can really tell that you have passion for making the content, and you're really good at choosing the right music to go with whatever you're posting. Like, he'll say, "Okay, let's think about that for a minute," and then it'll go to the next story, and you hear, "Think about what I'm trying to say to you."
Yeah, that famous song.
Who is that? Is that the Supremes?
Well, does it actually exist? I don't know. I mean, I thought it was invented.
No.
Oh, really?
Maybe it was just my terrible rendition.
Yeah, you're not very good at the Supremes, but it's a nice song. I like it. If it doesn't exist, then we should maybe do it together.
And I saw one where you're like, "Oh, well, I can help you with this," and then it goes to the next one, and then it's help. I need somebody.
Yeah. I do what I can there. I'm thinking of starting a Spotify list. A few people have asked me because they sort of quite like the music as well. But
yeah, music is a good way to learn as well. And then you have the grammar dealer. Tell us about the grammar dealer.
Yeah, the grammar dealer is kind of like, I mean, he's based on a drug dealer. I mean, I'm not going to try and hide it.
No, you don't. You don't hide it in the videos either.
No, exactly. I was umming and ahhing about that one. It started off because I decided I wanted to do a very short program of just simple grammar things. You know, what's the difference between, you know, for example, for and since. And I just sort of, for some reason, did it in a sort of London accent. And I was like, you know, for and since, what's the difference? And it was that kind of, you know, this character sort of came forth. And I thought, well, the way that I've done it, it looks a bit threatening and
sort of dodgy.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a nice adjective meaning, a little bit suspicious. You don't feel very safe around him.
Yeah, someone who you wouldn't trust.
Exactly.
Basically, yeah. Dodgy geezer. We use this word geezer as well, you know, like geezer, for a man.
Nice London slang. All right, geezer.
Exactly. So yeah, it sort of developed from there. Really, as the weeks went by, I thought, well, he looks like a drug dealer. So I wonder if I can start dealing grammar. I wonder what that's going to look like. So it just came out like that. Really strange stuff.
I love it. It's brilliant. And sometimes in John's videos, you might see his cat Alan, who I guess helps you out, right?
Yeah, he's very useful actually. Actually, a pain in the ass sometimes, to be frank with you, but he seems to be, he's like the mascot really. We got him at Christmas time, and he was rescued, you know, from a bin, and he's become sort of king of the house now really, and people always ask me every time I go on and do a live, it's where's Alan? First question, where's Alan?
Nice. Well, you warned me he might turn up. He might want to be let in at some point during the podcast.
Whatever he asks for, I have to do. So, podcast will have to stop and I'll have to let him in.
No problem. No, I won't stop the podcast. Yeah. I'll just narrate what's going on. Oh, there's Alan. And I don't know much about your like teaching history. Have you always been teaching in Italy, or were there stages before that?
Well, mostly in Italy, because I've been here for quite a long time. I'm not going to tell you how long, because that would be telling. But when I finished university, I went into first thing I did was a CELTA, which is, I'm sure many of your listeners will know, is a qualification for teaching English as a foreign language. And as soon as I did that, I went straight into teaching. But I did it in England for a couple of years. So I sort of cut my teeth there, and then I came over to
John, you set off the idiom alarm.
What have I done?
Sorry, that's the idiom alarm. You set it off.
Oh dear!
But what was it you said?
I think it might have been cut your teeth.
Cut your teeth, yeah. To cut one's teeth. So when the idiom alarm goes off, we have to explain what the idiom is.
Yeah.
So where and how did you cut your teeth, and what is cutting your teeth?
Well, it's I have to say you were very, very quick on the button there. Maybe it wasn't you. Maybe it's just set off automatically.
It's automatic when it hears an idiom, and there's sometimes I think, is it an idiom or not? The machine decides.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So cut your teeth. Well, to cut your teeth basically means to learn a skill or trade, usually at somebody else's expense. So maybe if you're working at you're working in a company, and obviously they're paying you to work there, and you also develop the skills while you're there. That's how I would describe it.
So at the start, you're really useless. But then you cut your teeth, and you learn a lot, and then you can do it.
Yeah.
I don't know
if I was useless, Rob. But,
well, for me. I don't know where or how
did it come
or why it comes from. Don't know the etymology of it.
I don't know either. No. I wonder if it's actually your real teeth, or whether it's maybe teeth of some sort of tool or something. Maybe
it's from dentistry, like you have to practice on somebody's teeth, and you're gonna don't know. This is total speculation, listeners.
That'd be an interesting one to find out, wouldn't it?
Yeah, if only there was some way to wait a minute. Hello everybody, this is Rob from the future, and I'm just here to tell you about the etymology of to cut one's teeth. It comes from the 16th century, and it talks about when babies get their first teeth, and technically the teeth cut through the gums, so like the teeth are cutting. So yeah, that's where it comes from, and as we heard, it means to learn to do something by experience, to cut one's teeth. So now, on with the podcast! So the problem with the idiom alarm, John, is that it interrupts the flow of the conversation. So what did you cut your teeth where?
I cut my teeth in England teaching English, and then I came over to Italy. I've got to go and let Alan in.
Oh, it's happened.
Second.
Okay.
He didn't wait long. I think he heard the idioms. He got excited.
Maybe you heard that I'm here. Okay. John's got up from his chair. John's background is the background that I see in his Instagram videos. Although he's in Italy, he has made a little slice of England in his office. He's got a British telephone box in the background, a Union Jack box. He's really made the nice English feel there, British feel.
Yeah, I put it especially for the podcast.
Nice. Oh, for my podcast, thank you.
Of course, yeah.
Although I just said that I've seen it in lots of his Instagram videos.
Oh, damn.
Yeah.
I didn't hear that bit.
Maybe you heard we were going to do the podcast, and they just happened to be in the background of your videos since then.
Yeah. So I've been teaching for quite a long time. Let's just say that.
Okay. I didn't see Alan. Okay, well, let's not get him. I don't want to.
I think he ran off to his litter box.
Okay. Oh yeah. Okay. Well, let's not disturb him then.
Mm.
Litter box. Do we need to explain that? It's where the
Probably.
where the cat does a poo. Where the cat does.
Yeah.
If you want a nice polite phrase, it's where a cat does its business.
Yeah. Where he hopefully does his business. Yeah.
Hopefully,
Yeah.
doesn't always work.
Well, actually, he's very, very good. It's just that sometimes when do we need to go into this? Sometimes when he wants to cover it up, he gets a bit sort of frenetic and kicks the whole lot out and then just walks out of the bathroom as if nothing has happened.
Okay.
But something has happened, hasn't it?
Yeah, and then he's not going to clean it up, is he?
No.
Okay, well, let's enough of cat poo. Let's talk
enough
about
of baby's teeth and cat poo.
Yeah. Well, this is the great thing about a podcast. You never know what's going to come up, and usually it's nothing useful, but this is why we've got some useful stuff. So I asked John, what do you want to talk about? You got any ideas? And he said that he would like to talk about what's changed in England since while he's been away. And I was like, yeah, I can totally relate to that because I've been out of England for a while now. Let's see, since 2010. And yeah, I agree, a lot has changed. So that's what we're going to talk about. But first, we're going to look at some useful vocabulary to talk about change. Here is the useful vocabulary jingle. So here we go. A vocabulary to talk about change, especially to talk about towns, cities changing. So we've got a list. We're going to go through them one at a time and have a little bit of a chat about the meaning of each one. So I'm going to start off pretty easy. I think most of you, if you are following me and John this far, I think most of you will know this one.
Is there anybody still there?
Well, we never know. I know the statistics of how many people click on it, of how many people listen all the way through. I've no idea. So, hi, Mum.
Yeah.
She's probably the only one that's still there.
Hi, Rob's mum. My mum's probably clicked off by now. Click off. Does that exist? No. I don't think
click off,
so.
click away.
No. Click away.
Yeah. Okay, so the first one is it's completely different. Not just it's different, but to add, to emphasize it's really strong, it's completely different. Yeah.
Yeah, it's completely different. A little bit stronger really is it's unrecognizable. So coming from the verb to recognize. So when you see something which you think is familiar, you recognize it. And the opposite would be this is obviously the adjective, unrecognizable. You don't recognize it. So it's changed completely.
Yeah, you can use it for anything like a place or a person even. If someone looks completely different, you could say, wow, she's unrecognizable. Can be a good thing or a bad thing, really.
Exactly. You should make that clear when you say it to them, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. I think they would know. Yeah. Context, tone, I suppose.
Yeah.
Okay. The next one. Is this? No, this is the opposite. It's no different at all. So instead of saying the same, it's no different at all. It's no different at all.
Yeah, and many students might mistakenly say it's not different at all.
Exactly. Yeah.
But the expression is really this, isn't it? It's no different. It sounds a bit strange, really, if you think about it.
Yeah, it's a collocation. It's no different, and you can add at all as well. It's no different at all. But then you're right. Yeah, the no different would be a strange one. Most learners might say not different.
It's more logical, isn't it? But then English has got a tendency not.
Oh yeah,
to be logical.
We're just trying to, make it difficult for you, basically.
It's pretty much the same. So if something is, I think it's fairly logical. It's the same part, but this expression "pretty," and very often we use this to mean, fairly, quite, something similar to this. So if we say something is pretty much the same, then it's more or less the same.
Hmm.
But we often pronounce it like that. I suppose it depends on your accent, but pretty much.
Yeah,
It's
with
like
the
almost like a D.
that's right. Yeah, and it can also just be a response in itself. Like, um, did you like the film? Yeah, pretty much.
Mm,
Just like in the middle, a little bit,
yeah,
not a lot, not a little bit, in the middle somewhere.
yeah. We also use pretty just, obviously as an adjective, it means like a bit,
Yeah,
slightly
a bit,
somewhere
quite.
between nice looking and beautiful.
Oh right, yeah, yeah.
Um,
That's the other use of pretty.
but then it's used also as this, to mean like fairly. And we use it in many situations, even when it seems a bit illogical. So you can say someone is pretty fantastic, I suppose. It's pretty good, it's pretty big. Maybe not pretty fantastic. Pretty fantastic doesn't sound right, does it?
No, I think you're right. It can have that sort of British, making things seem smaller than they are or understating
Mm,
something. Like, if you win millions on the Euro and people say, "How does it
mm.
feel?" And you go, "Yeah, it's pretty all right, pretty
Yeah,
fantastic."
yeah, it's not absolutely amazing. And you just say
Yeah.
pretty good, pretty good.
Maybe Americans be like, "Oh my God, man, I'm over the moon. I can't believe this has happened to me. It's amazing."
Yeah,
And a
that's
British person
exactly
might
what
be
they
like,
say.
"Yeah, it's pretty good actually. Yeah, it's nice."
Yeah, not bad. Also, you can have this kind of like strange thing we can say where someone's like, you could say he's pretty ugly, which is like, what do you call that? An oxy? Is that an oxymoron? I might have got that wrong. Is that
Uh,
when you sort of contradicts itself?
yeah, but you're not. It's funny, isn't it? Because you're using pretty as like an intensifier, but
Yeah,
it's the same word as pretty, meaning cute, beautiful. Pretty ugly.
yeah,
Yeah, I never thought of it. Like it is like an oxymoron. Hmm.
yeah. It's not actually as you say, but it sounds like it's sort of contradictory in some respects. Yeah. Anyway, it's an interesting word. Pretty.
It's a pretty cool
We use
word.
it a lot. It's pretty common.
It is, yeah, pretty much. Okay, I can't remember who did that one. Was that? Okay,
I
I'll
think that
just
was
go.
me.
Okay, yeah. Well, I will go then. Okay, and in formal writing, formal speaking, you might hear to undergo change. Like the city
Mm.
has undergone a big change, or the
Mm.
city will undergo a change. It just means a change is going to happen. But this word,
Mm.
this verb to undergo, is often linked to change, and it just means it's going to happen, and it's quite a formal word to undergo
Yeah.
change.
Yeah. If something undergoes something, it's like something happens to it.
Hmm.
You can also say that someone has undergone surgery, for example, if they've had a problem, a medical problem.
Hmm. Yeah.
So it's like to receive um,
Yeah,
something,
to
in this
receive like
case,
medical
change.
attention, but that's a good a situation where it would be used, because when you're talking to doctors, when you're talking to surgeons, it's always quite formal.
Hmm.
And if yeah, I don't think I would, if I had some surgery, I don't think I'd go and talk to my friends and say, "Oh, I underwent surgery yesterday." It
No,
would seem
no.
weird to use that formal language with your friends. Oh,
Just all your
really?
friends are doctors, and you, yeah, no. But yeah, I understand what you mean. It does sound very formal.
Yeah.
And I heard you say underwent. So yeah, it's exactly the same as to go, isn't it?
Yeah.
Undergo, underwent,
Irregular.
undergone. Yeah.
Hmm.
So to adapt to something, in other words, to change your behavior to fit a new situation. Can you think of an example when you might use to adapt to something?
Um, well, I suppose when I moved to Germany and I
Hmm.
had to, well, actually, I moved to France before, let's go that. When I moved to France, I had to adapt to them driving on the right hand side of the road. So when I first started, I didn't have a car when I lived in France, but when I crossed the road, I would look right first, but the cars are coming
Okay.
from the left because they're driving on the right. But I was used to looking right first. So after a
Hmm.
while, I adapted. I had to adapt to, yeah, to change my behavior to fit something new.
Yeah, that's a very good idea to adapt very quickly to that one.
Yeah, you have to. Otherwise, adapt, or, well, it's a survival of the fittest, isn't it? The ones who can adapt survive.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, and the next word is a lot of these next few words are alternatives for change, alternative words, but maybe with a slightly different meaning. So the next one is to shift or a shift. And a shift is normally quite a big change or a change in focus, right? When might you hear about a shift? And it's always a shift in something, usually.
Yeah, you hear it sometimes in politics, don't you? When maybe they talk about like a shift to the left or a shift to the right in terms of the votes,
Yeah.
maybe the number of votes that have come in an election.
Yeah,
So it's shifted left or right.
or maybe a politician's ideas have shifted. You know, they
Yeah.
used to not care about the environment, but oh wait a minute, all
Now
the
they
voters care
really,
about the
really don't
environment.
care.
Yeah, now I've shifted. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, to shift. It's a good word actually. We also can use it like to say to move an object, can't we? Can you help me to shift the sofa?
That is very interesting because it's quite a formal word when you're talking about big things like a shift in ideas or like if a business has shifted focus to a different money making, a different way of making money. But what you're saying, or could you just shift that cup of tea? It's in my way. That's quite informal, isn't it?
Yeah. I don't know about you, but I get the feeling that shift would be more to move something that's a little bit bigger. I don't know. Just shift a cup of tea. It seems a little bit. I
That
don't
is
know.
right.
I mean,
I just looked over there and I saw a cup of tea. Well, an empty cup of tea is what's the first thing that came to my mind. But yeah, I might call my friend and say, "Look, I need to shift this sofa. Can you come and help me?" You're right. Yeah, big changes and an informal way to say move something big.
But the thing is, if you looked in a dictionary, it probably wouldn't say anything about something big. It's just we know that because that's how we use it. So
Yeah. And I just thought of a really informal something to say to someone is, "Hey, shift it." So that just means move yourself.
Move.
That's my seat. Shift it.
Can you shift your car, please?
Can you shift your car? It's blocking my drive.
Yeah, can you shift your family? I'm trying to take a photo. No, you wouldn't say that, would you?
Maybe you'd start with excuse me, and then it might make it a bit better. But then you use the word shift, and you just became really rude.
Yeah, no, forget that. Don't say that to people.
If you want another rude one and you want someone to move, you can say, "Shift your ass, would you? Please." Not please. Shift your ass. Come on.
Yeah. Would you be so kind as to shift? Yeah. So to shift, yeah. There's another one. It's not on the list, but while we're talking about that, is to budge.
Budge, yeah.
Budge, yeah. Which can also have a similar meaning, no?
Yeah, and you can use it both ways. Like, could you budge over, please? And I think budge just means like move a little bit.
Yeah.
Or if something is stuck, you could say, "Oh, it won't budge."
Yeah.
I'm trying to open this rusty gate, but it just won't budge.
And you could also ask if someone can budge the sofa. Not that I haven't got any other examples. It's just that it also works for that.
Yeah.
Can you help me to budge but to shift the sofa maybe would be to move it to a different place, whereas to budge the sofa could be just to move it because you've lost your pen.
Yeah, just move it a little bit. And then if someone calls me and asks me to shift their sofa, I probably would think we're taking it to another building or a new house or something.
Yeah. Okay, so to convert. What about that? To convert. To change one thing into another thing.
Yeah.
So, I mean, for example, I could say, the thing that comes to mind is to convert maybe a building into another kind of building.
Yeah.
Maybe you might buy a large hotel and convert it into flats or apartments.
Yeah, good example. In the UK, there are lots of pubs which are converted from other things. Like I've been to one in London which used to be a cinema, or was it a theatre? So it's a pub which is converted from a cinema, or a cinema which was converted into a pub. I know it's very strange to be in the pub and it's really sloped and there's a big wall on one side and they kept the big curtains and stuff.
Okay.
And there were lots
That
of...
sounds pretty cool, actually.
It is, yeah, it was. Except for the fact that it was a Weatherspoons pub, which is good
Right.
because the beer's cheap, but there's usually no music or atmosphere and maybe a fight or two.
Yeah. Probably didn't happen when it was a cinema.
And there are quite a lot of old churches which have been converted into homes in the UK.
I went to a nightclub in London. I'm going back a long time now, but a nightclub which was actually called the Church, and I think it was converted from an old church.
Was it in Brixton?
I don't know because I was drunk when I got there, and I don't remember leaving. So,
All right.
but I do remember it was very, very big, and there was bouncers sort of perched around like gargoyles on the inside, watching everybody. And
Fitting, yeah.
I don't know.
Or maybe
it was
they
open
were the gargoyles, and you just because you were so drunk, you thought they were bouncers watching you.
Well, it's possible. Yeah. That's quite feasible.
Maybe we should explain what a gargoyle is. It's a weird word, isn't it? So on an old building, and especially churches, they have like little faces on the corners. What is it? Like the corners of the drainage things or something? Yeah. And because sometimes the water comes out the mouth sometimes. Is that right? Am I making that up?
That's exactly how it happens.
Right.
And I think, Rob, if I'm not mistaken, I don't think it's an English word. I think it's now I'm guessing a little bit, but I've got a feeling it's from French or possibly. But it comes, and it comes from the sound that the water makes when it comes out of their mouth. Sort of like we have like the verb to gurgle, don't we, in English, which is the sound that water makes. This sort of sound. I don't know if that's going to translate well, but so gargoyle.
So because I've been to one in Brixton. I used to live quite near there. We went a few times, and it was like underneath a church, but I think the church was still a church, but it was like underneath.
Really, there's a nightclub underneath it.
Well, yeah, they're going at different times, aren't they? So you don't need to worry about making any noise because there's nothing going on in the church at nighttime. Okay, let's try and buzz through these a little bit faster. Where were they? Convert. Okay, and then two more, which you might use to talk about, especially about a town or a city or a place. And I'm sorry, it was your turn. Anyway, I'm just going to keep going. Run down. If a place is run down, it means it's like a poor area or a neglected area. Not a very nice area. And I think there is sort of the connotation that it used to be a nice area, but now it's run down. Now it's old, it's not been cleaned, things are falling apart, there's a lot of rubbish everywhere, maybe. It's run down. Yeah,
it's been, as you say, neglected. People haven't taken care of it.
No money has been put in, no investment, no maintenance. Yeah.
And the last one is gentrified. So gentrified, as I understand it, this is not a word that I use very often, but gentrified. So gentrified would mean, I think, richer people moving into a poorer area, and often maybe buying up all the houses and property to such an extent that the people who have less money are almost forced to move out of the area.
Right. Yeah. Gentrification. I know a lot about this because I studied geography at university, and we talked about this a lot. But yeah, you're right. Basically, that's it. Usually, it happens because a local council has put a lot of money into a place and built some new buildings, and it's become gentrified. It's become a lot nicer. Rich people move in, poor people go because they can't afford it anymore, or their house is suddenly worth a lot of money so they can sell it. Yeah, gentrification.
Does this happen in the East End of London, or the sort of Docklands, or is that kind of...
That's a good example of it. Yeah, the Docklands in London, which used to be like a poor part of town, old warehouses, old factories, run down. It used to be quite run down.
Yeah.
Well, it's gone through stages, hasn't it? Because when London was like a big port city, it would be the docks, and it would be busy and a lot of work there. And when that all went away, the area became run down, and then it was gentrified. And now, I think everybody there has an expensive car and a £10,000 suit to go to work in. That's an exaggeration, but yeah.
It's unrecognizable.
Brilliant. Okay. So there's our useful vocabulary. And the next thing we're going to do is John's Guess the Year game, which John brought to the podcast just before we were recording. I was going through my ideas and what we're going to do. And he said, oh, well, I've got this thing where to talk about when I was last in England and what it was like. I'm going to tell you, you're going to, well, why don't you explain?
Yeah, well, I thought rather than just tell you when I left England, I'd give you a few clues of what was happening in England at that time. And, maybe you can try and guess.
Okay.
So
definitely want
maybe
to
I'll give him.
But wait, I need to.
You sort your lights out.
I need no the lights. I'm not worried about the lights. The battery went on one of my background lights, but this is predominantly audio podcast, so I'm not going to worry about it.
Right.
But I've not made a jingle for it, so I just got my ukulele here, and I'm going to try and make a jingle right now. What is it? John's Guess the Year game.
John's Guess the Year game.
Okay, let's do. John's Guess the Year game. It's John's Guess the Year game. Yes, you gotta guess the year. Oh, that doesn't work. Okay. The first bit was good. That's what you get with a spontaneous jingle.
Thank you. What an introduction.
You're welcome.
So, John's in. So, I'll read a fact about Britain, I suppose, not just England, about Britain at the time, and see if you can guess. Okay, I won't tell you. I'll just keep reading the clues every time you say it, and then you can change your guess if you wish. So the first one I'm going to tell you is that beer costs about £2.20 a pint.
In London or like outside London?
No, outside London. This would be really in the Bournemouth area.
£2.20 a pint. I'm gonna say something very general, so I'm gonna say 90s. The 90s.
The 90s. Okay. So I'll move on to the next one. Matthew Kelly was hosting Stars in Their Eyes. He probably still is. I don't know.
I heard they might bring it back soon. I heard something on some other podcast about that. Okay, stars in your eyes, stars in their eyes. What is it? Stars in.
I thought it was Stars in Their Eyes.
Okay, Stars in Their Eyes was a game show where people come on and they pretend to be a famous singer, and they impersonate a famous singer, and then the audience guesses on which the audience votes on which was the best. I can't remember.
Yeah, and you get people that came in and they look nothing like them, but they would always say, "Just remember, it's sound alike, not look alike." But they'd make some sort of attempt to look like the star, you know.
Yeah, they'd have their hair.
Some six foot man trying to be Madonna or something like that.
Well, that would be good. I think that'd be funny. Not funny. Yes, funny. Well, I'm trying to be woke. That would be okay.
Pretty funny.
There wouldn't be a problem. It'd be good. Okay, so yeah, mid-90s still. I'm still mid-90s. I'll try and narrow it down later.
So listen, EastEnders. In EastEnders, Phil Mitchell was in it, and Dirty Den came back.
Okay, so I never really watched EastEnders, which is a British soap based in London. If you want to learn the Cockney accent, EastEnders is a great way to do that, because you can put the subtitles on and you can work out what they're saying, because it's quite difficult with a Cockney accent.
Yeah.
Dirty Den and Phil Mitchell. They were both bad guys, weren't they?
Yeah.
I don't know when Dirty Den came back. Mid 90s. You're still not getting a year out of me yet. I'm not confident enough.
Okay, I'm going to give you another clue now. The UK Prime Minister was Tony Blair.
Ooh, Tony Blair was the prime minister until something like 2008. But when did he? No, that would be too. Was he prime minister for 10 years?
You got me
I
there.
think he started in like 96. So maybe I've got that wrong. Maybe he. No, I definitely remember where I was when he left. So I think it was like 2007, 8, 9. Okay. So I'm gonna say 96 at the minute. I think so. No, it's earlier than that, wasn't it? Okay. Mid 90s.
Well, I can tell you actually, he was Prime Minister from 1997 to 2007.
Okay. Oh, it was 10 years. Okay. Okay, so we're somewhere in that. Okay, so we're late 90s now.
Okay, last
Early
clue.
2000s. Yeah, go on.
Last clue. The Iraq War was just kicking off.
Okay, so it must be 98. No, not 98.
No,
99.
later.
Oh, blimey, this is... Your country is at war and you don't remember.
Exactly. No, exactly. Yeah. So there were two, in all fairness, Iraq wars,
okay.
but they're not in '98.
So 2001?
A little bit later.
2002?
It was 2003.
Oh, wow. Oh, I was way early with all of my guesses. Stars in Their Eyes was still going in 2003. I really associate that with 90s.
Well, yeah. I mean, that wasn't very specific, was it? I mean, he probably did it for quite a long time. So, I mean, you can be forgiven.
I probably started watching it in the
2003.
90s and realized it wasn't very good and stopped watching it.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay, so 2003 was the last time when you stopped living in England, basically.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk about that, and we're going to talk about what's changed since John lived in England. John, do you like David Bowie? Bowie or Bowie?
I'm going to be honest with you. I can take him or leave him. I'm not. I feel that I ought to have known his work better because I think he was a genius, but I just don't know his work that well, and so I feel I should have done. But I think it's a bit late to get into him.
I'm the same, actually. I like the hits, and I know that he's an icon, but there's just too much to get into. And anyway, I made a David Bowie jingle.
Good.
Changes. How has Britain changed? Changes. Hey John, won't you tell us, man? Changes. How has Britain changed? Changes. Is it worse or is it better, man?
What can I say? I mean, that is just class.
Thanks. And then I carried on playing the piano, and so we're just going to have that in the background. But it will finish. I think it's 4 minutes long. But
I felt like it was actually David Bowie singing to me.
Oh.
Is it David Bowie or David Bowie?
Every time I say his name, I just say both. Do you like David Bowie or Bowie? Because I'm just not sure. Real
David
fans
Bowie.
will know. Okay, so I've got some conversation questions about the changes.
Yeah.
So
fire away.
The first one was, when did you leave England? But we've done that with your fantastic game. So when was the last time you visited England?
Last time I visited England was I don't even know what year it is anymore. 2021, isn't it? So I went there in 2019. Yeah, I went to Guildford.
Wow. Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm not sure where that is. Like around London, isn't it? It's like a suburb of London.
It's in Surrey, yeah. It's south of London. It's not that far. It takes about 20 minutes on the train from Guildford to get to London.
Okay.
So
tell us about the first time you went back and you thought, that's a big change. It's really changed. Or was it like that? Did you suddenly go back and think, wow, this is unrecognizable? Or was it a gradual transition to something different?
Well, I can remember one particular occasion when I went back, and I don't think I could say that it was like a big shock to me. It's just that I just remember going into a supermarket once, and I was with a friend of mine. I'd gone to see a friend, and we went into this supermarket. Well, it was a small supermarket, and there was these self-scanning, auto scanners, I think they're called, or something like that, where you can scan your own produce. Now, this was going back to about 2010, maybe something like that, and they must have been relatively new, I suppose. Maybe been there for a couple of years or something in Britain. I really don't know when they first introduced them, and I'd never seen them before. And I walked in and I saw these scanners, and I was amazed. I was just standing there, look, this is amazing. And I think people just looked at me and just thought I was a bit weird because, they'd been around for a couple of years and most people were used to them. And I said, no, I want to use this. I don't want to go to the woman. No offense to the woman. I want to try this scanner thing. And I was trying to do it and I couldn't work out how to use it. And eventually some guy came over and helped me. And I was just so happy. I walked out with this massive smile on my face. And my friend who was waiting for me outside, he said, it's just ridiculous. He said, well, have you not got those in Italy? I said, well, no. I said, I don't even pay by credit card in Italy. It's just everything's in cash. So, and he said, for an English man to walk into a supermarket and not know what one of those is just like pointing at a car and saying, what's that sort of thing? It's just ridiculous that you wouldn't know. They must have thought you were like, you'd been in prison or something. It's the only sort of conclusion they could come to.
Coma or something.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
They are, I think they're more common in Britain than lots of places in Europe I've been to. We have them here in Germany in places like IKEA, and I see them every now and again, but in most supermarkets, they don't have the self-service checkouts. They just have the regular pay the lady or the man at the checkout. What else? What about in your hometown? Does it? What big changes have there been in your hometown?
Yeah.
Which is it Guildford?
Well,
No, you were going. No, it was not Guildford.
No, I went there for a different reason, but Bournemouth was the most recent town I lived in. Nothing really huge there, really. Just sort of general changes that I see everywhere I go in Britain, like an enormous number of chain stores and coffee shops. This is one of the biggest changes that's happened since I moved away. The onset and the rise of the coffee shop. It just seems to have taken over every single town and village. It seems to be everywhere. Costa Coffee and Starbucks and all of these chain coffee shops.
There's a word for it, and I can't remember what it is. It's something like the Starbucksization or something like. Maybe I'll. You know what? Future Rob is going to come in with whatever that word is.
Starbuckization. The Starbuck up.
I don't know, but that word exists. So because I remember thinking, oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, and it's kind of like that's definitely changed. But the funny thing for me is, I suppose, going back and it's not necessarily that changes in Britain itself, but it's just how you see people have adapted to it. And for example, I go back and. The last time I was in a town might have been like 20 years ago, and I'll go back there and I have a memory of it. And I go back and now everybody's on their mobile phones and sitting in Starbucks and, which is the same anywhere you go in the world, really. But it's just going back and things just being completely different to how you remember them, I think.
Yeah. For me, like my hometown of Leicester, the city centre is a lot different. It's not unrecognizable, but for example, they've built a huge new shopping center. So it's a bit ironic because they built a huge new shopping center, but town is more empty. The city center is more empty than it used to be. And I'm not just talking about COVID because I've not actually been to England during the whole pandemic. Just every time I go back and I go into town, there are fewer. Well, let's say it like this: there are fewer nice, normal people, and there are more dodgy people and lots of junkies and things like that in the
Can I
city
say a
centre.
word? Can I say a word?
You can say it, yeah.
Chavs.
Chavs. There were always chavs, yeah. But there are more concentrated there, yeah. What is a chav? What is a chav, John? You said it.
Well, yeah, I did. I mean, this is also another concept which I think, has really come into fruition since I left England. I mean, it wasn't really, we didn't really, they existed, but we didn't have a name for them.
Yeah, there wasn't a word. Like when we were at school, we used to call them townies. And the word chav, I don't know when, like early 2000s, maybe. Well, it must have been after 2003, I suppose.
I suppose, yeah, 2004 or something like that. A chav is, I suppose, we don't want to stereotype anybody, but it would be like an older teenager, maybe early 20s person dressed in a tracksuit with a bag.
Oh, John, you cut out then.
Oh, and now?
Yeah, now it's fine.
Should I say that again?
Yeah, sure.
It was a shit description anyway. So a chav would be, I suppose, I don't want to stereotype anybody, but maybe like a teenager or someone in their 20s, not particularly cultured, not cultured at all, maybe drinking beer in public places and wearing lots of jewelry and swearing at people, and basically like a badly behaved adolescent.
Yeah, sort of antisocial. Yeah, you don't really want to be around them, and sometimes they're just hanging around in the street, or like on a street corner is the stereotype to say they're hanging around on the street corner. But yeah, they'll be like, and sometimes chavs, they sort of take over a park. Like kids want to go on the swings, but there's some chavs there with their Alco Pops. Not cool.
Yeah. Hey, chavs, shift.
Shift it, chavs. Yeah, definitely. But I say it's not cool, but they think they are the coolest thing.
Yeah. I remember once, actually, just reminded me, I'd gone back to England and I was with some teachers and we went into a pub. And I think this was about 2005 or 2006. And a guy walked into the pub and he had, do you remember East 17? They were like a pop group, and
got their albums.
They used to have like baseball caps like balanced on the top of their heads, so like a massive amount of forehead. And this guy walked into the pub and he had a tracksuit and a gold chain and this thing. Walked straight up to the bar to order a beer. And the guy I was with, he just started laughing so loud. And I just said, "What's that?" And he was just saying, "It's just Chav of the Year just walked in." And I think that was the first time I'd heard the word chav. And I looked around, I instantly understood what a chav was.
You got to be careful though, because they have a reputation for being quite aggressive as well.
Yeah.
What are you laughing at? What are you laughing at? What are you laughing at? What are you looking at?
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, you got to be careful.
Got to be careful. Yeah. Okay. We're painting a bad picture of England. It's not all like that.
Yeah. No, it's not.
Okay, so tell us about some positive changes that you've noticed.
Well, certainly I think, in terms of things like racial tolerance has improved greatly. There's, as I understand it, and as it seems to me, people are a lot more accepting of different cultures, foreign cultures. I mean, already England was quite cosmopolitan, really, anyway, as a country, but I think that's improved even more now, especially if you go to some of the bigger cities. So I've noticed in London, really, maybe it's just my observation from as being a sort of kind of a tourist going back there, but it just seems there's a lot more harmony between the different cultures and races. So that's got to be a positive thing.
Yeah, definitely. Well, great example. Okay, and well, staying with sort of that social thing, do you think the mood in England has changed?
What do you mean, the mood?
Well, because I hear from people there that the mood has changed since Brexit. And I'm talking pre-pandemic, that people are, because of the whole Brexit thing, and it was close to a 50-50 vote, really. There's some like more tension than there used to be, and not such a nice, friendly atmosphere in general. I've not experienced it myself. This is why I want to ask you. Do you feel like the mood has changed?
I'm not. But when was Brexit? Last year? Excuse my ignorance.
Well, 2016 was when the vote was officially,
Oh, you mean from the moment it was actually decided?
yeah,
Not.
because
Yeah.
even after that, people were happy and other people were really angry about it.
I mean, to be frank, although I have been back to England during that time, I've never really had any first-hand experience of it. But I have seen a lot of friends and people divided on social media about it. So, and I've noticed people have got some very, very strong feelings. So those that are for are like really for, and there doesn't seem to be any grey areas. We're either really for it or really against it. So I can see it's been quite a divisive issue. And yeah, that sort of came at a bad time, really. I think I don't really want to get onto politics, but I think it was sort of a bit of a tactical move by the politicians, striking at a moment when Britain was very fearful of terrorism and immigration.
Yeah, immigration especially. Yeah, there was the whole they called it a crisis, didn't they? The refugee crisis, because there were so many people coming in. Yeah, you're right.
So it's a shame, really, because I just think I would have hoped that the British people would have been a bit more switched on, a bit more intelligent, but.
Yeah, but just over half of them weren't, or
well, don't get me wrong,
were really went out and voted. Whereas I think a lot of people who are anti-Brexit lots of them didn't vote, I think.
Well, don't get me wrong. I'm not suggesting that. I'm not saying that it was good or bad to leave Europe. I think obviously everyone is entitled to their own opinion. But what I don't like is the way that people seem to have been convinced by very few politicians to do it for the wrong reasons. That's what I think I was trying to get at, not expressing a view.
Well, I'll express a view. I think Brexit is a bad idea. A pretty bad idea.
Okay. Well, I suppose it remains to be seen, doesn't it, now?
Yeah. Well, okay. Well, let's not get into that. Okay.
Yeah.
So let's get out of that sort of negativity with a game that we're going to end on, and it's called What's Gone.
Hey, 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 John, what's gone? Hey, hey, John, what's gone? Hey, 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 John, what's gone?
It's called it's called What's Gone, is it?
It's called Hey John, What's Gone? Yeah.
Oh, Hey John. Sorry, I should have guessed.
I've never really thought of the title, but yeah, officially now the game is called Hey John, What's Gone?
It's great. Rhymes, and it's just wonderful.
Yeah, it's like it's made for it. So basically, I've got a list of things, and you've got to tell me if they're all businesses or shops. So apart from our membership to the EU, what else is gone? So when I tell you the thing, you tell me if it's still you have to tell me what it is.
Okay.
So the listeners can know what it is or was.
Okay.
And tell me if it's still there or if it's gone. So the first one is what is, and is it still there? Toys R Us. Toys R Us.
Toys R Us. Was that with a backwards R?
A backwards R. Yeah, not R, like you are, we are. This is the word it is using. But they just had the letter R. Yeah. And those crazy marketing guys put the R backwards.
Yeah, like a child had written it. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. So Toys R Us. Well, I'm going to say that was a big toy shop, wasn't it? It was a big. In fact, it was an enormous, I think, American chain. I'm going to say it's not there anymore. I think it's gone. Toys R Us.
That's correct. That's correct. It's gone. Okay. Oh, actually, I'm going to mark down how many points you got. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 of these.
Wow.
So if you get over 6, you're a winner.
Okay.
So Toys R Us is gone. The next one is Woolworths. Woolworths. What is or was it, and is it gone?
Woolworths. Woolworths was a kind of, it's quite hard to describe. It was a shop, and they sold a bit of everything, really. They sold stationery, like paper, pens, but also I think books and maybe some furniture. Did they sell furniture or what?
I can't remember. I don't think they sold furniture. What else? Toys.
Toys.
They were quite famous for their pick and mix,
Oh,
where
yeah.
you it's got all the sweets, candies, and you can get your own bag and then put whatever you want in there.
Yeah, it was quite cheap, wasn't it? A cheap shop. We used to call it Woolies.
Woolies, yeah.
Yeah. No, that's gone. That's gone. Yeah.
Yeah, that's gone. Interestingly, actually, it's not interesting at all. It's still here in Germany. The same logo and
Really?
everything. Yeah, I was surprised when I saw it, because when I
What do you mean
when I
that's
moved,
not interesting? That's very interesting, Robert.
Okay,
Yeah.
well, I know where your next trip is going to be. Come down to Frankfurt, go to the Woolworths, to the Woolies.
Yeah.
Okay, next one. Poundland. Poundland.
Poundland. Well, I think the name is in the clue is in the title, isn't it? Really, in the name. Excuse me. So Poundland is a shop where you can buy everything for £1. We used to have great fun when I was younger going in there. We used to just go in and ask how much things were until we got thrown out.
Yeah, I'm sure the staff loved that.
I'm sure no one's ever done it before as well.
Well, actually, I've been in a Poundland with my mum, and she asked me, like, in all seriousness, "Can you see how much this is?" I can't. I said, "Mum,
Yeah.
you know this. You know that we're in Poundland." Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, that's right.
Did she do it on purpose, or did she?
Don't think
did she
so.
forget?
I think she genuinely just forgot where we were.
Yeah. No, I just say, how much is this £1? How much is this £1? How much is this £1? And what if I buy £2? That kind of stuff. That's how we used to spend our afternoons. Poundland. Well, I think that's too good to lose, isn't it? So I'm going to say that it's still there.
That's correct!
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
3 for 3. And actually, I think there are more than there used to be. Every time I go back, the Woolworths is now a Poundland. The Toys R Us is now a Poundland. The big shops move out, go out of business, and Poundland replaces it.
Moves in. Wow.
Okay, from Poundland to Pound Stretcher. What's Pound Stretcher, and is it still there?
Pound Stretcher. Well, I've seen Pound Stretcher. I don't think I've been in there because it sounds like might be more expensive than Poundland. You won't catch me. Pound Stretcher. Is that similar to Poundland then?
No, it's not. It's like it is or was, sort of a discount supermarket. A supermarket, but
Okay.
Pound Stretcher, because you take your pound in there and you can stretch it. You can
Okay.
get a lot for your pounds.
Okay.
So it was like the Aldi before Aldi, I suppose.
Okay. So yeah, Pound Stretcher. Well, I don't see any reason why something like that would disappear. So I'm going to say it's still there.
That's correct!
Oh, come on. So it just sounds like Britain are just trying to save money all the time.
Yeah, or they've got less money than they used to have. I don't know. Or they're
maybe.
just spending their money on other things. Okay, the next one is Go Fly. Or I think just Go sometimes.
Okay. So Go Fly, what I would imagine is it a travel agent or an airline company?
Airline, yeah. Airline.
An airline company. Okay, well, I think the budget travel. I think all travel's been pretty hard hit recently, and I know some of the budget airlines have been hit pretty hard. So go. I'm going to say going gone.
That's not correct.
Sorry,
Oh.
no. I hit the wrong button.
That's
Oh,
correct!
Yeah.
oh, right, great. Well, I'm glad about that. I'm not glad for them, but I'm glad that I got it right.
Yeah, you got it right. So, you got 5. You only need one more, and you're a winner. Yeah, that was a budget airline. Yeah, and it was before the pandemic. I don't know why. I don't know how they went out of business. Next, HMV. HMV.
HMV. HMV was a. I was gonna say a record shop, Rob. A record shop. I mean, where does that put me on the age scale? A music shop, isn't it? Like they sell. What do people buy these days? CDs? I don't think they even buy CDs anymore, do they?
Well, that's the thing. But I think it's okay to call it a record shop. Because if you say a music shop, then I think you're going to go to buy like a keyboard or a guitar or a saxophone or something. I'd say I'm going down to the record shop. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
Okay.
not going to buy a record because I don't have a record player. I might buy a CD. Yeah. Or a T-shirt.
That's a tough one because I know I went to London a few years ago looking for the Virgin Megastore and found that I spent ages looking for that and it had gone. So I don't think that exists anymore. So HMV, wow, I'm going to put my neck out and say that it's gone.
Warning. Idiot.
Okay, let's go back to the. Okay, you're going to say it's gone.
Yeah.
That's not correct.
Still there.
Still there.
To be fair, lots of them have gone. Lots of branches. A location of a chain shop. Each one is a branch. Lots of branches are gone, but it's still there.
You'd say branch, and I'd say branch. Being a southerner.
I've got the Midlands. I'm from the middle of
Midlands,
England,
yeah,
so
yeah.
I'd say Bath, Grass, Castle, and then you'd say
Castle,
right,
branch. That would be a good one to talk about another time, maybe.
it comes up from time to time. It technically, if you want to look it up on Wikipedia or whatever, listeners, it's called the Bath Trap Split or the Bath Trap Split. And the split talks about the line across England where above it people say Bath and below it people say Bath. So where were we? Why did the idiom alarm go off?
Because I said I'll stick my neck out or put my neck out.
All right. So how are you putting your neck out, sticking your neck out?
Well, to stick your neck out means I'm going to kind of risk doing something or risk saying something.
Yeah.
I'm going to take a risk, by saying something. So I guessed that it maybe didn't exist anymore.
Yeah.
I stuck my neck out, but I got it wrong.
Great definition. Yeah, good. Okay, next one. Greg's. What is Greg's?
Greg's, is that with 3 G's?
Is it 3?
I don't know. Is it
So,
G-R-E?
you're right, there are 3 G's. I was like 3 in a row thinking, no, yeah. GREGGS.
Yeah. I mean, it's as many G's as it is all the other letters put together, isn't it, really? Think about it. Is it GREGG? Yeah, it is. 3 G's, and that's not really important. So I would say that Greg's is a baker's, but it's a big chain of bakers, and they sell a lot of things, typical English things like sausage rolls, which is like a sausage wrapped in pastry, and maybe steak and kidney pies, Scotch eggs,
Lovely.
things like that. And it's very, very commonplace for people to go and buy their lunches, when they come out of the offices, maybe at lunchtime. So I'm going to say it's still there. I think Greg's is pretty common now.
That's correct!
Yeah, and that's something that I notice every time I go back. There are more and more Greg's everywhere. They're very popular.
Yeah. I think they came into being in the 2000s as well, didn't they?
Yeah, I think I was living in London and they started to pop up, and then they're just in every city now as well, it seems.
Yeah, next to Starbucks.
Yeah. Okay, next is Gap. I think
Gap.
I don't know if I hear some people sometimes say the Gap. And I'm not just talking about on the London Underground where they say mind the gap.
Yeah, okay.
That's what you were going to say, yeah.
Yeah, so he beat me to it, fair enough. Gap. Well, actually, I know this because I heard it on the news the other day.
Me too.
Well, actually, I say I know it. They said that they're going to start phasing them out. So I assume if you're talking about the present, they still actually exist. But I think over the next few months, they're going to start phasing them all out. So, yeah.
Yeah, so they're still there now, but yeah, they're going soon.
Yeah.
And I wonder how that transition will go for them,
I
because
don't
they're
know.
transitioning to just online, is what I heard.
Yeah. Yeah.
So there's going to be a gap in the market.
Is
that an idiom?
I see.
Warning.
I see.
Idiom. Warning. Idiom.
Oh yeah, a gap in the market. Is that an idiom? Well, the machine thought it was. The idiom alarm thinks it is.
Really? Yeah.
Well, a gap. So like mind the gap. A hole in the market. So there's you can start this business because there is the market for it. A gap in the
Yeah.
market.
An opportunity, maybe, because something's missing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Okay, so ironically, there won't be a gap in the market, so there will be a gap in the well, no, there won't be a gap in the market because I think technically gap are from what maybe we listened to the same Radio 4 news report about it, that people don't want these boring clothes anymore, and that Gap was they had like plain jeans, plain tops, and if there was a logo, if there was an image, it was just Gap normally.
Okay.
And people are looking for different fashions. Okay, C and A.
CNA.
I said C
C
and
and
A,
A.
but I would never normally say that. C and A. C
Yeah.
and A. Two
yeah.
letters, C and A.
Yeah. Exactly. C&A. Now this is it a department store or is it just a clothes store? I don't really remember, to be honest with you. I
Just
think it's
clothes.
Departments. Oh, just clothes.
Yeah.
Okay. So a clothes store, usually for the kind of slightly older person, maybe. Well, I don't mean old. I mean maybe for sort of middle-aged people or more mature people. It's not the sort of place I would consider teenagers would go. Chavs wouldn't go there to buy their stuff.
No. Although they do sell hoodies,
Okay. Well, probably everywhere does nowadays, don't they?
or did sell hoodies.
Yeah. Well, I'm not gonna go by the tense, because you might be trying to throw me. So I'm gonna say CNA. Now it's a staple, isn't it? It's got to be there. I'm gonna say it's definitely still there. Yeah.
What's wrong with my jingle? Why isn't it working? Oh, the volume's down from the idiom alarm. Wait,
That's not correct.
there you go.
Really?
I gave you some suspense there. Yeah, it's gone. Still here in Germany, but not in England anymore.
So basically, Britain has moved to Germany. This is what you're telling me.
It seems that way, yeah. Okay, two more. Rover,
Rover, the car manufacturer.
car manufacturer.
I'm fairly sure Rover are not there anymore. I think Rover was probably moved to Germany. I think was it bought out by BMW or something? Maybe, I don't know. I'm going to say no. Rover are not there.
That's correct.
From what I remember, they were bought by Land Rover and then Tata, the Indian motor company, or the Indian everything company, really. And they still own it, but they've not made any Rover cars for a long time. So I think the brand is just, defunct.
Okay. Yeah.
Iceland.
Iceland. There's that big frozen food shop.
Mm-hmm.
Mum's gone to Iceland. That was the advertising slogan, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's right.
Mum's gone to Iceland. Well, I tell you what, I can remember B Jams. I don't know if you remember B Jams. That was another frozen food shop, but we're going back to the 1980s now.
Don't remember B Jams.
B-Jams.
Sorry, maybe they didn't have it in Leicester, or maybe I wasn't paying
Possibly
attention
not.
in the 80s.
Should have been paying more attention to the frozen food shops.
Yeah.
Iceland. Yeah, that's still there, isn't it?
That's correct.
Yeah.
Okay.
Despite their terribly sexist tagline, "Mum's gone to Iceland," they probably don't use that anymore these days.
Well, maybe Mum travels a lot. Maybe she's gone to the country.
Yeah, but why can't Dad go to Iceland?
Well,
Oh, you mean the country Iceland?
yeah, possibly.
Yeah. She's more upwardly mobile. She's
She can travel on her own. She
She's
doesn't
gone
have to
find
ask her
herself.
husband.
Okay, last one. Topshop. Top Man, Top Shop.
Yeah, Top Man, Top Shop. That's the sort of place that wouldn't be there. But then again, I get the impression that it's one of those places that won't disappear. I'm pretty sure it still exists in some form, certainly online. Top Shop, Top Shop. I'm going to say it's still there.
That's not correct.
Really? That's gone as well,
gone.
is it?
I was surprised. I used to be Top Man guy. Like I used to buy almost everything from there.
Oh, yeah.
It was like mid-range, quite fashionable, but not crazy fashion. Yeah, I'm surprised that one's gone, because Gap I can understand, CNA I can understand, because they're quite sort of, boring clothes. But Topshop, I thought they were always quite up with the fashion, and people flocked there to buy stuff.
Yeah, I used to go there too. We probably looked exactly the same in our dress sense, like in the 90s.
Yeah, maybe. Well, we look similar now. Glasses, short hair, t-shirt.
Yeah, I think you're right.
We've got the look.
Yeah, you're still buying the stuff from Top Man online, or well, you still got it from the 90s.
Have I still got any Top Man, Top Shop clothes? Don't think so. No.
No.
Okay, how many did you get right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You won anyway. You won. You got more than 6.
I'm very, very pleased about that.
Okay. Well, John, you leave a winner. Thanks so much for joining me today.
Well, thank you for having me.
And people can find you on your Instagram page. Any other avenues that people can find you through if they're not on Instagram?
At the moment, that's what I'm concentrating on. So Instagram, tomorrow, who knows? Maybe we're looking to doing something on TikTok. I'm on TikTok as well, but that's a kind of a side project, really. But that's going fairly well as well. But Instagram's the main place to find me.
Cool. Okay. Thanks a lot for joining us, and I hope that when you next go back to England, there are some positive changes.
Yeah. Well, hopefully I'll be able to get back there soon. It's been a long time.
Yeah. Who knows? I'm supposed to be, and I hope to be going to my brother's wedding in August, but who knows? We'll see.
Yeah. Fingers crossed.
Okay, I warned John at the beginning of the podcast that I'm not good at beginning it or ending it. So here's an insincere goodbye. Bye.
That was one of the worst endings I've ever heard in my life.
Okay, I was just honest about it.
Yeah.
Okay, that's it.